Hi, everybody. I'm Abby, Road Rage, as some of you know me. And if you remember my cohort and dear friend, Claire, aka Miss
Hey.
Slutty the Clown. And this is week 2 of Once More with Abby and Claire, where we discuss all things Buffy from the beginning. So last week we covered the 2-part opener and then the next episode, Witch. So today we're technically on episode number 4, and we'll cover 4 and 5 today, which is Teacher's Pet and Never Kill a Boy on the First Date.
You got it.
Now, Claire has some, I'm going to let her take over for a minute here to tell us about, somebody answered our question from last week. Thank you.
Which was great.
Which was great.
It's brilliant that we could ask a question and people are answering us and interacting.
I know.
I'm thanking everybody again for watching last week. Everybody who watched afterwards, all the people that helped out, all the people that commented. We love you all very much. Which just our little folly, but if people enjoy it as well, we're happy. Right. So last week we asked about the band because I couldn't find a name. That was in the first episode, Welcome to the Hellmouth. And my lovely friend Maria Trower, who I have known for years and years and years, Instagrammed the other day and said the band's name is Sprung Monkey.
Sprung Monkey.
Sprung Monkey.
I like the name.
Yeah, it's a brilliant name. And she said they are a really, really good band. So if anybody wants to check out Sprung Monkey, they're the cover band that's in the bronze. In the first episode, Welcome to the Hellmouth, and that was by the lovely Maria Trower.
Thank you so much for answering that question. I do have a question from my friend Joe Gatogio, which will hopefully be answered in later episodes. But if anybody knows it off the top of their head, they're welcome to chime in rather. His question was, he remembers an episode where everybody's hanging at Giles' house and going through spell books, and they come across a spell where you can remove skin from a person. And Willow's like, ew, who would ever do that? And, you know, we won't jump forward because spoilers, even though it's been done for 25 years. But,
but we'll try not to spoil it for new audiences too much.
Try not to spoil when Willow gets bored now. So anyway, I'm hoping we'll just come across that episode, that first episode where she makes that comment. Because
yeah, I mean, I had a little quick look the other night and I can't, after we spoke about it when your friend had told you, and I can't find the reference, but I do kind of have a feeling it's definitely there where we'll come across it. I'm pretty sure. So that's
I think it's going to be early on.
Yeah, definitely. It's got to be early.
Yeah. So Teacher's Pet, as most of you know, hopefully all of you know, or if you're watching it for the first time, I've had 2 people tell me that they were going to start watching Buffy from the beginning, and I don't remember if it was Clint Myers said he was thinking of doing it.
I think Clint said he was going to start because they have it at home. Yeah.
For the life of me, one of my other friends,
somebody else
said, Adam or Paul, said they would restart them, you know, just to kind of watch along with us. I think it was Paul. But anyway, this week's episode we're discussing first is Teacher's Pet, where our friend Buffy finally finds a teacher that she can work with, that seems to respect her, that wants her to work harder. So of
wants
course,
to encourage her.
So of course,
it's kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah. So of course
he's so lovely. He's such a lovely teacher. It's one of those teachers you wished you had.
Yeah. And so needless to say, Buffy did learn a few things. Well, this particular professor goes missing. I'm blanking on his name, to be honest with you, but I don't think it matters that much. Anyway,
Dr. Gregory.
Dr. Gregory, thank you. He goes missing, and I think, wasn't it Cordelia? It's always Cordelia.
That was Cordelia, yeah. She opens the freezer and he drops out.
Yes, for her special lunch meal, and finds the headless body of the professor. And fast forward to a new substitute teacher entering our midst, who reminds me so much of, oh crap, now I'm going to blank on her name, and you know her. Man.
She does look like someone.
She reminds me of Melinda Clark. Now, it's not Melinda Clark, but do you remember Melinda Clark from, well, I don't know if you watched Xena Warrior Princess. That was the first thing I knew her from. She was in that, and she was in Return of the Living Dead Part 3, which I always feel is the most romantic of the Return of the Living Dead movies. Yeah, my brain is a little mushy these days. I'm a bit symptomatic.
Adam's here. So some right superstars there, Adam says. We love you, Adam. Thank you. We love you.
I love you. So yes, this particular teacher is, I had looked up her name because I was not familiar with her. Nor do I think I've seen her in anything else when I went through her bio, but her name is Musetta Vander. And she's lovely.
I would have had no idea of her name. And I'll be honest, I can't think of anything else she's been in, but she looks like someone else. You are right.
She looks like Melinda Clarke. If you look up Melinda Clarke, and for the life of me, I cannot think of her character's name. And I know when Joe watches this, he's going to be screaming at the screen. But she was an Amazon. She takes the ambrosia to throw over Gabrielle taking over the as Queen of the Amazons.
See, I didn't watch all of Xena. I've seen bits of Xena.
Yeah, well, Joe will know, and it'll pop in my head eventually, but she fights Callisto. It's a whole thing. Anyway, that's a story for another day. But this lady looks very much like Melinda Clarke in my head. And every time I see her, I think, oh, it's like not even, I can't even say the Wish version of Melinda Clarke because they're both equally stunning women. However, teacher shows up, all the boys' little pheromones.
Oh, she's a femme fatale. She's got it going on.
Yes. And her kink is bugs. So she is discussing.
What does she do?
Which one has? Anyway, fast forward to, well, there's the bully kid who I did want to look up, who's always given Xander a load of shit because
Blaine.
Yeah, but what's his name? I don't know when he his real name.
Clinton, thank you.
But
nice.
Yeah, so he's razzing him about, oh, you haven't been with any women and blah, blah, blah. And Xander's like, I've been with all women because I'm a class act. And everybody knows they're full of shit. But anyway, so this particular student doesn't show up the next day after flirting with the teacher. And then come to find out Xander gets invited for his one-on-one tutoring class. And
I actually love the opener of this one with Xander in his dream sequence.
Oh my gosh.
That sets the tone kind of how he is. I love that. He's a rock star. He's rescuing Buffy.
It's reminiscent of Jonathan later, which again, much later.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
But the episode.
No spoilers.
So then Xander sets up the meeting with the teacher. When he gets there, oh, she forgot the stuff at her home. Would he mind going to her house? Pretty please, and sugar on top. Of course he's going to, because as we know, Xander is a giant horn bag. He's
He's a massive slut.
So he goes to the teacher's house. She's questioning him on whether he's ever been with a woman and yada, yada. Anyway, prior to this, Buffy suspects some foul play when her teacher showed up headless. And she looks in on the classroom to see
This is the great bit. This is so great.
The teacher turns her head 180 degrees around to look behind her and see Buffy looking in the door. Unusual, maybe. I've seen The Exorcist. There was no pea soup this time, so we're going with not possessed.
Yeah. I think she actually says it's a full-on Exorcist twist.
Yeah,
I think that's what she actually said.
That was a good quote. So Buffy, because her Dr. Gregory taught her, if you need to know something, you're going to look for it, you're going to study, you're going to work harder, you're going to know what your enemy is to fight them. So Buffy starts researching insects and comes up with the only insect that can turn their head 180 degrees around, being the well-loved praying mantis. Am I forgetting anything about before we get to the teacher's house?
Well, the kid's missing. They kind of know the other kid's missing, but that's But
But
really,
at this point, he just doesn't show up for school that day, so he could just be hungover or, licking his wounds. So they don't really suspect a whole lot just yet.
Yeah, I think, we've covered all that completely. I mean, they kind of get, I think the funniest thing, as I say, about it is you get to this point, and this is the point where we realise that every date that Xander goes on is an absolute disaster.
It's a disaster. So Buffy, Giles, Willow, research. She figures out it's an insect. Giles then connects what supernatural being is the same as said praying mantis, and I don't remember the name of the monster, and I'm sure I should take notes of these things, but I didn't.
I think there's a Latin name, but basically they just call it female praying mantis.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, I think they just gave the Latin name, but so anyway, this demon or this other is determined to seek out pure boys to fertilize her eggs, as it were, and then as praying manti do, decapitate said mate afterwards. So Buffy seems confused. What do you mean? Xander's not a virgin? And Willow says, oh my God, he's gonna die. So fast forward, we get to the teacher's house. Xander gets drugged and wakes up in a cage, as tends to happen.
She drug his martinis. She gives him martinis.
Yes, because every teacher gives their high school student martinis to drink, especially when they try to, chop their head off or something.
Get the eggs
next to him in the very next stall is, what was the guy's name, did we say? Oh, Blaine. Blaine. Oh, it's such a...
Oh, Blaine. He's such a little... Isn't he?
So
he's one of them guys. One of them guys you hate.
He's a bro, and he's a disgusting bro who's always bragging about his conquests and such. But turned to find out, if said teacher has collected him, he will be a virgin. But we'll come back to that. So he has seen her take care of the other boys before him. So he knows what's coming and fills Xander in on what to be expected, and is, needless to say, freaking out. So she plans to lay her eggs, mate with them, fertilize the eggs, and cut their head off and eat it. So whatever, they're not game. I never judge kink, Excuse me, one moment. Ladies and gentlemen, please. I have two cats hissing, not just hissing, like standing right in the same room I'm in, but they never come in, and yelling at each other. But anyway, so Xander is understandably upset, discouraged.
And starts screaming.
Yeah, and luckily, who should save the day but our resident Scoobies. And now, wow, I just watched it last week, but Buffy dispatches of her in pieces. I'm trying to remember now how she blows her up.
I like the part where they open the big bag, the tool bag they've always got, the weapons bag, and it's full of bug spray, industrial size cat.
Right. Does she set her on fire after? I can't remember.
No, they use the bat sonar, and then she sets her on fire.
And she explodes. Okay, that was what it was. You're right, the bat sonar. Because again, she learned.
She did a homework
that taught her so much in a short amount of time before.
This is our lesson for this week. The parable is good teachers do your homework, kids.
Yep, this is it. This is our moral of the day. But taught her that praying mantises, when they hear bat sonar, it totally freaks out their nervous system and they tweak. So she does try to hit the recorder once, and what does this do to your nervous system? And it's like Giles reciting some
doing something really boring.
Other side. So that's the equivalent of finding the wrong blank tape in the bin. I'm gonna throw something in a cat.
Okay, feel free.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please, because now Molly's gonna get upset and she's gonna vomit, and I don't want that to happen. Go in your room.
There's nothing worse than cat vomit.
Well, she hyperventilates because of stress. George, excuse me one moment.
It's fine. So
Talk
while
amongst
I've been dealing with
yourselves.
their children, I'll be very unruly.
I mean,
Um,
yeah. So, but the thing is, George, forgive me for bringing up my cats, but George is in love with my mother's cat, Molly, and Molly does not want anything to do with either of them. So he doesn't understand when she says no. This is something we should teach our viewers. No means no. And
very, very valuable lesson right there.
yeah. So where were we before I was so rudely interrupted by?
We were talking about the kill of the bat sonar,
So
going all skit, and then Xander, after it's all over, picks up the axe off the floor and he smashes all the eggs.
which was
You know,
actually
really
very
masculine.
smart. And I don't, I'm sure they would have thought of it, but he really thought of it because he wasn't taking any chances on that.
He was not taking any more chances.
No.
Unfortunately, as it goes on, every day he has is bad, so it didn't help him that much. But
And Willow, of course, announces to both of them that lucky they were virgins and they shouldn't be punished for saving themselves and blah, blah, blah. And Blaine is
Bless
like, I
her.
will sue your ass. But
Yeah, he's such a horrible douche, isn't he? That lad's just awful.
I love
I
it.
must admit, what I did notice, just for this episode quickly, was it's the first time they used a vampire as a sniffer dog.
Say that one more time. I had a call.
I noticed it's actually the first episode they use a vampire as a sniffer dog to search something else, and they do it quite a lot all the way through the seasons. And
You're
I noticed it was the
100%.
first time they actually thought of it.
Because the vampire was afraid of her. And what would make a vampire afraid of a beautiful young woman?
A beautiful, seductive teacher.
Yes.
It just turned out to be 103 or something if it was her.
Yes, right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with older women.
No, of course.
But so this was just a fun episode. And one that I realized that during rewatches, I tend to skip over. I don't know why. It's enjoyable, but I'm glad I got to actually sit down and watch it again.
Yeah. It's definitely one of the fun Monster of the Week.
Exactly. The one-off
episodes,
jobs, which I really have come to enjoy when you're stuck in, I shouldn't say stuck, but when the seasons are multi-episode carryovers and you've got a whole storyline going.
Multi-layered stories. It's nice just to have those.
It's nice to have a Monster of the Week the way they start out, like
right.
how X-Files used to be. Just, Monster of the Week.
Those kind of Creature of the Week or Story of the Week. I love those in any of those seasons. They don't tend to do it too much in things these days. It's not really.
Not as much. Well, I don't know. I mean, Supernatural did it too, but then they get caught on I've got to take this story somewhere, which honestly just happens if you're going to be more than a season or two. But I enjoyed this one. It's fun for me. The teacher is stunning. I never get tired of that. And Xander drooling is adorable. Cordelia is just, and I think more so in the next episode that we're going to discuss, I know later on, many years later.
That was many though. I mean, it's even not
but
even
now
Buffy.
I do not care for her. I do not care for her.
No, we do not. But one thing I did realize that we haven't really mentioned, and we're now on our third episode. We haven't talked about Angel.
Oh, we really haven't talked about Angel because he's still a periphery.
He's still just a brooding image at this point.
And I
will say, in the white t-shirt in this episode and the next one.
Yeah, I feel like
he's so young, he's so beautiful.
You first see him be jealous, which is kind of cute.
Yeah, he's kind of got the look, hasn't he? He's got that face on.
Yeah, and if we have nothing else to say about Teacher's Pet, why don't we jump right into that next one, if that's cool with you?
Yes, that's absolutely fine.
No. So, never kill a boy on the first date. Buffy, as Buffy does, has terrible. Well, no, he was a nice boy. Was that Owen, right?
Yeah,
It was Owen. Christopher Wheel is his real name. But Owen is in the school and Buffy notices Owen and Owen notices Buffy. And it's the first time we see, since she's been in Sunnydale, the googly goo eyes and the, do you think he noticed me? And lots of older women in my search history. Thank you, Clint.
Yeah. Thanks for that
I know
interjection.
you search me all the time, but I'm the older woman. So, I forgot what else. Oh, Owen. Owen is the poetry reading, Emily Dickinson
Dickinson
loving,
reading, brooding,
brooding
Heathcliff type.
loner boy who's very handsome and doesn't say a lot, but when he does, it's like silent Bob knowledge. And Buffy has her eyes set on him and decides, you know what? She deserves a night out. She deserves a date. She's killing things left and right. And however, Giles has, well, does Angel bring the premonition? Now you would,
I think they kind of realise it before Angel mentions it. I feel that's the. Do they kill the vampire in the graveyard at the beginning and they find the ring?
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay.
And then they research the ring,
the Brotherhood,
find out the prophecy.
Yes. And the prophecy states that from the ashes of 5,
one will rise or something,
and bring the master into his power, yada, yada, yada.
Yada.
So Giles does all the calculations and he determines that tonight is the night that this is going to happen. This prophecy is going to happen. At the same time, Buffy gets invited to the bronze by Owen, just
by cute boy.
By the cute boy. Cordelia tries to screw it up, but anyway, meet him there, no problem. So Giles understandably ended the world versus first date. She needs to do her duty and blah, blah, blah. So she starts out at the cemetery with Giles waiting for these to rise. And there's no fresh graves at that moment. So she thinks it's all a load of bullshit. However, they determine after a certain amount of time, it's not going to be tonight. I guess my calculations were off. Buffy takes off for the bronze.
Yep.
And then like a dog in heat, Cordelia is humping Owen's leg and basically just being spider monkey.
Just being Cordelia.
Just Cordelia-ing all over the place. So yes, Buffy sees this. Instead of walking up to Owen and saying, sorry, I'm late, you know, this happened. She just decides to leave.
Yeah, because
she doesn't always make the best choices, as we know. Then the very next morning, Owen seeks Buffy out.
Yep.
And says, where were you? I was waiting for you.
I waited for you. You should have come and seen me. And she's like, oh, okay.
And she said, well, you know, I thought Cordelia. And he's like, well, she's a little handsy, isn't she? She's a little clingy. There's like bloody murder going on in my other room. So anyway, we're going to do a retake tonight. Meet me here at whatever time. And
and we'll
at my house. He's going to pick her up at her house. This is a date. We're going on a date. So she's in her house with Xander and Willow picking out the outfit du jour. Xander gets his jealous creepiness going. It sort of annoys me how much he's like sweating over Buffy. And I get that it's teenage hormones, but he just really does not understand what that does to poor little Willow, again, while she still thought that's what she wanted most in the world. So they pick the outfit, the doorbell rings, super excited. It's Giles. Calculations are off briefly. Tonight is definitely the night. Look, we have these 5 people killed in a bus accident. There's your 5 people. One of them is a known murderer. This is going to be This is it. This is it.
Big game.
No sooner does she say, I have a date. Owen shows up and they all decide, all right, Buffy, you deserve the night out, at least for a bit. Giles is going to go kind of scope things out and let her know if the apocalypse comes, beep her, basically.
Yeah, I think that's the
And
first time they use that line as well in the
the
whole lot, and
apocalypse
it is a
comes.
famous line.
And it's my favorite because I use that a
Yeah,
lot.
and the beeper
actually.
comes into play all the way through as well, doesn't it? You know, like having a beeper, because obviously it's pre the tech we have now.
Yes. So they decide they're going to meet up with Giles. That it was wrong to let him go alone, and they all go to. Oh, was it just Xander that goes to the?
No, they go to the mausoleum, and he's already been chased by them, and he has
Right.
to lock
Somebody went
himself
and
in the room.
got Giles. I mean, got Buffy though. So I guess maybe that was Xander and Willow decided to go check on Giles
Yeah, and they see him through the window, and they go to the bronze, but by that time, Angel's already there telling her that she shouldn't be there, and she should be
she
focusing
should be
on.
with her. Yes, with her
Yeah.
people. So again, Buffy comes in. That giant murderer has now become a vampire.
It was a really good character. I mean, the whole Bible spilling stuff.
Oh, love
I
a
always
good
find
Bible
that so
thumper.
scary and sinister in anything, and it's quite a good character. You know, it's one of those baddies that you think, it's a shame he died.
Yes,
Really?
sorry we had to kill you
Yeah.
so quickly. In the interim, he knocks Owen out. Buffy thinks Owen is dead. She sort of freaks out on him, like, you killed my date. You killed my date. Owen is not dead. They think
Just
now
a bit
that they have killed the baddie, that this was the chosen one, and rah rah, we saved the day yet again. She thinks it's over with Owen because he just has to get out of there, doesn't want her to walk him home, just wants to leave.
No.
The next morning,
Big
however,
message then.
Which honestly, you know, it's a heck of a first date. I mean, most of the guys we know
It's not
probably
really
would
your
have enjoyed
ideal.
it. But turns out Owen got a taste for it. Yes, George, she watched it too. Owen got a taste for the thrill, and now he wants to go like start a bar fight and like, what are we going to do tonight? And Buffy's like, whoa, I can't, because I will technically get him killed the next time. So she has to be the bigger person and end it there, which is a long line of Buffy putting the world before herself.
Yeah. She saved
Angel
the world
getting
a
a
lot.
little butthurt finding Buffy's on a date. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I think that it's just about now where he actually comes into what we know about him. Who we find out who he is, and you can tell by his face when he's in the bronze. He's like, I'm not happy about this. Why is she here with a boy?
No, he plays it all cool, but he is totally.
And we know nothing about him at this point. We know absolutely nothing. He's literally just a brooding figure that pops in every now and again.
He's just the guy that, jumps in to save her and gives her gives her good advice, but she doesn't want to hear it. So she's still at the I hate him, but he's kind of handsome. And then Cordelia. So Owen goes off with Buffy, and then Cordelia sees Angel walk in, like, oh, I'm gonna ride this train.
She goes all feral.
Yeah, it was, and he's just like looking for. She's like, "What is this? Like, what is she bathing?" But yeah. So Jeff Mead is the actor that played Andrew Borba, who was the Bible quoting murderer who becomes a vampire, and he's actually been in a couple.
I just wanted to see more of him. It was one of those.
He was in Pam and Tommy. I don't remember him. But now if I go back, I'd probably recognize him. It's like I said, it's been a while since I redid season 1. But yes, this one gets more into ancient prophecies, so forth and so on. We come to find that Mr. Andrew Borba was not actually the chosen one, that a small child who I don't know who he is.
I don't know who he is, but I can see his face right now. The anointed one as he is.
So yes, he is a young boy who is technically the chosen one. And I don't again want to jump ahead, but
no,
I remember who comes in the next couple episodes.
Yes.
Which is Spike, and I get very excited.
Yeah, I think we're really getting into it then. There's so many different dynamics once we start building. I feel even as you're going through season 1, you know, by the time we get to season 2, everything's
Yes. Oh, it's completely
so integral. I mean, I
Andrew
feel
first.
for me, season 1 is scene setting very much for me. It's kind of creating the relationships, the vibe of what you're expecting.
I love it. It makes me very happy watching again. You know, I said it last week with the moment that, I don't know if you can hear this over here. It's insane. The moment that Willow and Buffy met, like it's like
It's
not
lovely.
sparks, but just the ease in which, and this goes to the writing on Buffy, the ease in which the conversation flows and the Buffy
it feels so natural and it gives you feels. You know, it really does. Especially if you're a fan, it really gets you on levels of how well they did it.
So it's the Aurelius prophecy.
Right.
When has Buffy begin the next day? Giles figures the fivefold agent fulfills Aurelius's prophecy and is trapped in the morgue by the Brethren. That was the name. I was just looking for the name of the people with the rings. They're the Brethren because why not?
Because why not?
So again, this episode ends with us finding out that maybe we didn't actually get rid of the big bad and that this prophecy is still happening. So what did you think of this?
Definitely making its way for the lead storyline for the season.
Yeah. It's starting to get really good. And again, the Master played just amazingly.
Yeah.
Mark Metcalf is he's so perfect in this role, and that character
is going to get mentioned a lot.
He is, at least in the next couple of weeks, because and hopefully I won't have a menagerie going on in my head. So
a couple of things with the bands in this one. Well, I remember, because I feel the bands and the fact that they showcase so many new bands and the fact the Bronze is featured so heavily, I think it's kind of nice to mention them if we can every week a little bit. We've got Rotten Apples by 3 Day Wheelie, which is when they first enter the Bronze on the first night.
On the first night, okay.
And then we've got Velvet Chain do 2 songs, and they're the ones when Cordelia tries to cut in, and when also Angel enters. We've got Strong and Treason by Velvet Chain.
It's so weird that I don't know any of these. I'm so old.
Do you know, I'm actually listening to more bands because I've been looking for it, and it's really good.
And I do think we should put maybe on the site, and I'll let you do this, if you could list them in somewhere that we could tag this to, because I'd love to go back
in the description. Yeah,
like we said at the end of season 1, I'd love to put together a mixtape for us, and
that'd be great. That would be awesome.
Put it out on our YouTube channel if we can without getting sued. Or we can
work a way of doing it. There's a way of doing it.
There's ways for everything, and that's you, my friend.
And then not a Bronze one, but there was a song at the end where she breaks up with Owen at the end and says, "Look, I can't do this," and that is "Junkie Girl" by Pretty Boy Floyd.
Okay.
But I find it amazing that there's so many bands, as you say, we've never heard of them.
Right.
But the songs are always great.
I hope that we can give them their due by going back. And I mean, I'm sure there's somebody somewhere. I don't know them personally. And I love the music as I'm listening to it.
Yeah, me too. And I think it's kind of nice to just have a little look as an extra thing to see what they are.
100%. And if they get new fans because of it, go Buffy.
Team Buffy every time.
Yeah. So if anybody has, again, any questions that you want us to bring up or look up or anything about these past 2 episodes or any advice, as long as it's kind, because I'm sensitive and I get hurt. But we've decided we'd like to do this every Thursday at 2 p.m. if we can. But please like and subscribe and hit the post.
Put your little thingy bell on as well. That helps if you put your little bell on in the corner.
Put your little bell on, so that you'll always know when we're doing this. And we would love to have some interaction.
Yeah, I mean, if any questions, feel free to message us on here or social media.
Yes,
ask us.
I know a lot of people work. It's like, I don't know, 2:30 Eastern Standard Time, and in the UK it's 7:30.
Yeah, it's 7:30. So yeah, I mean, it goes straight onto the channel after we come off anyway. So it's there for anybody to watch later on.
But yeah, definitely, if you have any questions, and please let us let us entertain you. But
Yeah.
entertain us
And
too.
thank
'cause
you
I-
again for watching, to everyone and everyone who's commented, subscribed, to all our friends who've helped us do this and shared it and
God, we
commented and
love you
subscribed as
guys.
well. Thank you. We love you all lots.
And we'll see you next week.
We will indeed. Love you.
Love you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.